Here with the boss himself, Patrick Cavanagh, the Admirals CEO. So let's first of all talk about your hockey team. This has just been such an amazing season for this team, bringing a lot of smiles to people's faces, such as yourself right now. This franchise has just made continuous great strides. So tell us about your thoughts on the season so far.
We've had a great season. You know, in the offseason here this year, we really focused on a couple of key ingredients that we're after. We're after getting, the best players, people that we can get. We're after building culture in that room and having come room out. And having a group of players that are playing for that logo on the front of their sweater, and we've achieved on all levels on that.
Talk to me about this Admirals coaching staff. What makes head coach Jeff Carr such a great fit for this team, because he has become a rock star in this town?
Well, he's an extraordinary person. You start with that. He's an extraordinary person. He's an intelligent person, and he's extremely committed to being the best he can be every day. And he expects that out of himself, and he expects that around everyone around him. And that's a contagious item that he brings, and the players have really bought in. And so he's made a significant difference in our culture. He's made a significant difference in the expectation from the players. And, along with him, Joel has been there side by side with him as well. He's been a big contributor to that as well. And then more recently, we've added Brent Clark to the coaching staff too. And he's been phenomenal in joining the staff and fitting right in, with the other two perfectly.
A follow-up statement that I would say is that just falls in line with what you always say: perseverance, commitment, excellence, correct?
Well, yeah. Everywhere I go, it's that. Yeah. And there's a lot of things within our hockey team that follows that. We've had to go through a lot to get here, and all of us have to be the best every day for us to eventually get to excellence, and that's where the commitment comes in.
Yeah. I watched your guest appearance on the Decide to Dominate podcast, and I actually learned a few things that I didn't even know about you, like you trained and developed a plan for your son Regan, who played for the Admirals last year, made his debut at the end of March, and played about 10 games with them last season. And now the local star, Brandon Osmundson, who has stolen the show in this town. From the age of 6, you developed this plan for him. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a great story, and I'm so happy to see Brandon excelling like he has. But, I bought the Chill Ponds, over 20 years ago now. I'd stepped in when my kids started showing some interest, and I said, we want to develop players that can go to university hockey and play for the Admirals. And the ironic thing is that's what we said right then and there. And so right around the ages of 5 or 6, we started training with my sons, and Brandon was in that group. And Brandon never left that group. Maybe around the ages of 10 or 11, we took them out of school, put them in academy-oriented school. Then we were training all day too. And there are a lot of expectations put on, those kids. And we always had the vision. And when I say we spoke about this often after hard grueling skates and training sessions, that one day, hopefully you have the opportunity to line up against players that were ahead of you, either in the drafts or going Division I college or playing in the USHL. And it's then that all of these training sessions will be measured. And so when I saw Regan come out last year and play, it was an exhilarating feeling. And every single time Brandon touches the ice now, it's just, for me, amazing. And to even further that, it's not just Brandon, it was the family commitment, our family and Mr. and Mrs. Osmundson. And we've been family friends in a close circle for a long time. To see them at the game too, even brings that whole journey together even greater.
I know you've been asked this question by local media a lot, but I've never asked you personally. When Brandon Osmundson scored his first goal in this building, what were you thinking about?
Oh, it was emotional. It was emotional. As emotional as you can see it in the face. We already have it at the Chill Ponds on our front door, the picture. When I look into his eyes, I can see all of those years of blood, sweat, and tears and going the extra mile in effort. So, one of those feelings, I said in that podcast, you mentioned that podcast, which was fun to do, and Michael Weatherly and DJ Dozier ran that. You don't oftentimes get a chance to have a goal and objective that lasts 20 years, and you get to see it realized successfully, and that kind of accumulates that situation.
I read an article recently called Hampton Roads as the hockey town of the South. That's pretty darn cool, which is really attributed to your commitment and leadership in ice sports facility management, really just growing the game of hockey here in Hampton Roads, the string of junior hockey championships that you've accumulated, and now with the wealth of success that the Admirals have had over the last few months or so. What leadership traits do you value most when taking on these type of goals?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that's where it comes down to perseverance, commitment, excellence. That's where that really wraps up. at every level that we've attacked, trying to put hockey on the map here in Hampton Roads, whether it be starting Chill Ponds or Whalen Nation, or eventually bring on the junior program and now to the Admirals, it's always the same goal. How do we break the ceilings? How do we create new standards of excellence? And how do we dominate our field? And when you approach it from that, there is an awful lot of tasks that you have to be good at. And the only way to do those is to be surrounded by great people. And at each level, we've done that. And you had talked about the coaches and even yourself. And our staff here at the Admirals is a phenomenal group of people at every level. And there is an excitement within this organization inside our building that's extending out into the crowd and to the community.
So the Chill Ponds Ice Sports Complex recently celebrated its 20th year, which I'm sure you were very proud of when that all happened. And also you acquired a new ice facility in Yorktown. And what's crazy is people can't stop talking about this thing in Yorktown. I mean, it's just an incredible renovation that's come together. The Whaler program expansion that you've completed. Can you share with us the process that took place and your vision for the future with that program?
Well, you have a lot of great questions today here, Wes. Yeah. That's a great one, too. So the Yorktown project's been a very fun one, a rewarding one. We acquired that facility now a little bit more than a year ago and immediately went to work on transforming it to a more modern experience, to an experience that's a little more comfortable to go and watch the games at, that mirrors Chill Ponds Chesapeake, and also to help foster and support the youth hockey programming there and the figure skating programming there. They have a wonderful community of people over there. We've been crossing over for years in competition with the kids and the parents. But to bring them all together has been rewarding. The renovation has really been rewarding. And for those who haven't gone in there, it's just when you walk through the door, it's a much different experience. And we're excited about it.
You mentioned the Admirals front office. I want to talk about them for a moment. So under your leadership, this Admirals team, they've increased attendance and partnerships each year. The ice level suites are an incredible innovation, and those are so successful that you have a waiting list for those next year, which is what's slated to happen for next season. And also, not to mention, last year you brought the All-Star game here, you brought the Stanley Cup here, something that brings so many smiles to people's faces, those two events. Now, I've been here since 2019, and I've watched just our collective staff together just thrive under your passion is the best way to say it. So tell us about this front office team and what it's like to have them on board representing the Norfolk Admirals.
Well, thank you for those kind words for a start. Everything starts from our fan base and our community. We have a lot of pride in our fan base and our community, and everything that we do, we drive to make their experiences better as a part of the Admirals organization. Whether they're at Scope, whether they're watching it on Flow Hockey, or whether they're meeting a player in a restaurant, wherever they come across it. We aim for the best experience, and we feel they deserve that. Our front office has done such a phenomenal job. As our hockey ops have, as even the broadcasting I've watched you develop over the course of the year has been just incredible developments. And I know that you have such a following amongst the people who watch Flow, and the clips that you do for social media, that they see snippets of the excitement that you bring forth. But you see, that's what's great about this. You have a lot of people in this organization, I would say all the people in this organization, who want the best for this program and for these players and for these people. And when you can put that kind of thing together, you really get an excitement level that's organic. You can't make it up, you can't buy it, you can't fabricate it. It's either there or it's not. And to a man in that front office, to a man and women, we have both of them, but they have really gone above and beyond every single day. And so a lot of our records that you had mentioned there are a direct result of those people on the phones and meeting people and sharing our vision for the program and the community, and then having them come and experience a great time when they come to Scope. And that's what makes it all come together.
Last question I had for you. You took a pretty cool trip recently out to Winnipeg, Manitoba to visit our NHL affiliate, the Winnipeg Jets. I heard your conversation with Daniel Fink, who's been nothing but great to this organization and to me individually. So tell us about that trip and what were your takeaways?
So that was an amazing trip. So this is our first year, as you know, with Winnipeg and with Manitoba. And with any relationship, they've had their scouts and representatives down here at almost every game, communicating with the coaching staff, talking with the players, working on player development, and constantly striving for greatness. I mean, we have so much alignment with Winnipeg on that front. And with all the commitment that we've seen of them sending the guys down and helping us, away from the 200 by D5 and support, I thought the least I can do is take a trip up there and meet them all. And I was overwhelmed by the hospitality that was shown to me. I met every single person in the organization at both the Moose and the Jets level. I had the opportunity to see a Moose game, which was an afternoon game last Monday, and then the Jets played the following Tuesday versus the Wild. And I made a lot of I strengthened a lot of friendships organically. Genuine people who love the sport. When you go to Winnipeg, that's a small town, Canadian town that loves hockey. They love it, and their people breathe, commitment. They breathe working hard. I mean, these people aren't leaving the rink, 20 hours a day to try to make their organizations and their people better. Their amenities were top notch. I had an opportunity to share business discussions, player development discussions. We discussed ways that we can be a better affiliate to them. We discussed various different amenities that they'd like to see us adopt that they've used, and they showed them to me. So I was able to see them in live time action, what kind of development items we can use to better prepare players, both mentally and physically, and just operations in general. The NHL operations are incredible, and people may not know this, but Winnipeg and Manitoba share the same building. Whenever you go in their practice rink or into Canada Life Arena, there's basically a hallway, and to the right is the Jets, and to the left are the Moose. They have almost identical player amenities, options, locker rooms, training facilities, food areas, video areas. It's just left and right. So one of the things that was left to me is and I came home with is, what can the Admirals do to mirror as close to the American League player conditions as possible? And so I came down motivated and enthused to execute those.